Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott. Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Learn more about the Experience community at our website, local.theexperience.video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Experience is brought to you each week by these great sponsors. The Gillot Home Team at Keller Williams Mid-Willamette Real Estate, the #1 team in Oregon, 541-451-2211, teamgillot.com. Make 2025 your best year ever. Set and track your goals with the Independent Planner. Designed for entrepreneurs by an entrepreneur. Supplement your digital calendar. Independent-planner.com. Kicking Cancer. Kicking Cancer provides support, education, and resources for cancer patients, survivors, and families. Kicking-cancer.org. And now let's get on with the show.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. I almost said the wrong show, and I am so glad that you are here. But Scott, I'm so glad that you're here. After backstage that we do before this at 6:30 a.m. Pacific, we weren't able to get Scott on this morning. So Scott, it's like a reunion.
You know, the whole Meta Instagram thing. Who knows what was happening with the servers? Maybe it's the weather. Maybe it's solar flares. Maybe it's just luck of the draw. I don't know. Hey, let me before we get too far, today is a big day. It is my wife's birthday.
Woo.
And
Happy
so
birthday,
I put her
Christine.
LinkedIn into the chat. So overwhelm her today, everybody.
There you go. Well, you are blessed, and you definitely married way up, so you're good.
Got that right. Surround yourself with those better than yourself, right? For success.
Exactly. Well, that is so wonderful. That's so wonderful. Well, Scott, what's going on with you this week?
Hey, I'm excited this afternoon. I'm a part of the Waco Business Networking Group, and just a fabulous group of people. The group has been growing. It was at 20 about this time last year, 40 by the end of the year. We're closing in on 60, something like that. I forget. But I'll be sharing today about my book, Business Networking, a Scientific Method, and networking for students. This book, by the way, has just been updated a little bit, but it is printed in a font that is friendly for students with dyslexia. So it's, but it's got all the principles to give students an unfair advantage when they're out there looking for internships, school applications, scholarships, jobs, all that stuff. So I'll get to share that. And then Friday, and this leads into Denise, our guest coming on today, who's got some great AI experience. But Friday in the Global Tea Break, Tyrese Nischwander, and we've been talking a lot about the different applications, basically the ways that us small business folk can make money with AI. And Tyrese is going to be sharing about an application that she's created on the Pickaxe platform, which is also an AI platform, specifically to help people get jobs, resumes, applications, and all that stuff, cover letters. It's all really cool. So the Global Tea Break, globalteabreak.com, people can register. Friday is international networking and education. And I'm excited about Denise being our guest today, and also talking about her journey and how AI is that also unfair advantage.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that this Friday. I don't know how much of that I'm actually going to be able to get this week because I have some labs and I have to go to my doctor at the same time. So I'm going to be like going in and out, but I'm going to try my best.
Maybe your doctor wants to watch. I don't know.
There you go. Maybe my doctor and I can watch together.
There you
But
go.
I tell you, her name, this Friday's guest, I want you to say that 5 times fast.
Yeah,
5 times fast.
Tyrese Nieswander. Tyrese. Yeah,
That's
she's just a great person. I met her through the Uplift Leadership, which is a nonprofit. I'm on the board for Uplift Leadership, providing career guidance for high school and college students. And this summer we'll be running the career camp again for the fourth year. But the last 2 years, it's been a multi-day camp at the University of Oregon, even though I'm an Oregon State University Beaver, and both Russ and I bleed orange.
Yes, we do.
Green and Gold campus for 4 days, but it's all to help the students, and so we make sacrifices.
Yeah, you got to make sacrifices. Well, I'm wearing my Beaver colors today, so there you go. And
Beavs.
of course, that's kind of a plus because my Beaver colors are actually my my business colors too. So that's a real plus. I can just always don the orange and black.
There you go.
Listen, everybody, I am so excited that you're here today. You're going to love Denise. Before we get to her, though, I've got to tell you real quick, a couple quick things. That we're here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time for your listening and viewing pleasure. Yes, that's right. We go live then, but then it becomes a video podcast that sits on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook forever. Then guess what? Then if you don't have time to watch, it converts to audio podcast, and you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, whatever your favorite podcast platform is. We'd love to have you here. We'd love to have you engage with us every morning. And part of that is you could go to local.theexperience.video to find out more about us. Part of that's being in the comments. Part of that is joining our YouTube page. You can go direct to experience.video. We got all kinds of options for you. All of this is in the comments and the show notes. And we just love for you to be part of the show with us. So please do that today. Please engage. And Scott, before we get Denise in here, do you have any great pearls of wisdom before we introduce her?
Yeah, get your pen and paper out and take notes.
Yeah,
because
we're gonna have fun this morning.
There we
go. Here she comes, Miss Denise Murtha Bachmann. Woo!
Good morning. Good morning. And happy birthday to Christine before I forget.
Thank you.
She
and I don't know if
you
actually need paper and pen, but hopefully you'll learn something.
There you go. Well, Denise, we're going to start off with just a little snippet about who in the world is Denise and what are you up to? It's been a while since you've been on the show, so update us.
Oh gosh. So who is Denise? I am a sales professional. So I spent a lot of time in the corporate world, over 30 years. And then I started my own business because I realized that as I was turning 50, that I really wanted to be able to spend more time with my family. And I wanted to be healthy doing that. And being in corporate sales, we know, is a tough gig, right? It's never about what you did or what you're going to do. It's about what are you doing for me today? And so, I'm always 150, 180, 200%er. And I realized that there was a gap that I could fulfill. And I really wanted to take care of my health and spend more time with my family. So I started my own business. I live here in Houston. My kids are, even though I'm turning 53, my kids are turning 11 and 16. And yeah, that's about as exciting as it gets with me.
Well, I tell you, I just want to say right off the bat that, you are just a bundle of energy, and I appreciate all that you're about. And I love that smile, and thank you for sharing that with us today. But really quickly, before we get moving on, and then I'll let Scott jump in. So last time, I'm just going to preface this. You really kind of talked about your journey, your healing journey. And we want to talk a little bit about that before we get into AI and all that. So I'm going to let you take that away and just give us a little preview of that. And then we'll talk more about that.
Yeah. So I guess my journey of healing started as I was encroaching at 50, right? I realized that my health was taking a toll, that I was not a really good role model for my children. I was self-mutilating. It would cause problems with my husband. It was causing, I wasn't a role model for my kids. So it was causing a tremendous amount of tension or negative energy in my house. I also, because of that, I wasn't really going out. I was really in full depression, and I had really only experienced depression a couple of times in my life, but they were after some big things, events, situations that happened. And it was what I realized as I was starting that journey of healing was that if I didn't take care of my baggage, I had had some childhood trauma that would rear its ugly head at different intensity levels throughout my life. And the 2 times that I was super depressed, it wasn't because of that childhood trauma necessarily. It was about whatever was happening. But because I never took the time to truly heal from that, I allowed those situations or events to just bring me down. And it was completely negatively impacting. I mean, I would have amazing moments in my life where things were going awesome. Even sometimes for those moments could be years, but then it would be something that would just take me down. And so I realized that it was super important if I wanted to live this life where I was a good role model, where I could be present and enjoy my family, and where I could see true success, not limited success. And if I was going to live to see my kids, have their own children. So I am living 100 plus, a healthy 100 plus year old. But I realized I needed to take charge of that. And so I started this entire journey of healing, which, if you ever want to have a discussion about that offline, there's so many different things that you can do to start that journey. And it's not about, being ashamed or fearful of. It's really about just embracing and being vulnerable and recognizing that it's needed. But now that I'm on the other side of that, it took me 50 years to start that journey. So I wouldn't say I've become an expert in it yet. I still have moments where something happens and it kind of freaks me out and it takes me down just a little, but now it's just like a couple of days, right? And I'm able to sift through those emotions and navigate it well. And what that's enabled me to really do is really grow my business in a way that I'm meeting the goals that I want to achieve. And it's not just short term. I can see sustainable growth and sustainable success. And I feel better in the moment. Like I am now present and in the moment at all times, which, by the way, I love to say this. It's not my own. I stole it from somewhere. Being depressed is really living in the past. Anxiety is about fear of the future. And being present is where you find joy. So I remind me that often.
That is so good. And I just remind people too that when you're an undergraduate, it's called plagiarism. When you're a graduate student, it's called research. But when you reach life and you're in business, it's called leveraging. So you did not steal that. You were able to leverage this for your advantage.
I love that. I'm going to use that.
So there we go. And I think that you're not sitting in front of a virtual background there. I think that's your actual.
Those are all my books. And they're only 2 shelves that I haven't read. They're books that I bought and just haven't gotten to yet.
Well, and I wanted to ask you about that because, we don't have control over those things that cause trauma in our early life or but we do have control over how we address that, how we find a way to deal with it, get it past us. And as you say, not be worried about the future, not be living in the past, but enjoying this time. And on yourself, I see these great books, and I see some with spiral binding there over your shoulder as well. Tell us about your books. Tell us about reading, and do you journal?
So I do journal. I have, these are my journals, and I journal every day. I write my thoughts in there, my intentions, my strategies. So I do journal every day, except the weekends. I'm not as great on the weekends because I've got kids that are still young and I like to sleep in because we go crazy during the week. So I don't journal as well as I would like on the weekends, but I try to be in flow. So if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. That being said, I do journal. My books back here are a ton of variety there, meaning that I've got everything from business books to self-help books. I have some great authors that I love, some traditional ones that are my go-tos, and then some that aren't even really my go-to that I just picked out and read. I've got some that are all about Germany and speaking the language, but then my binders back there, which I have a whole nother section up here with tons of binders. Those, my spiral ones there, are actually where I write my business notes. So every day I write my to-dos, and I also write what I'm thankful for. That's where I put my goals for that quarter, because usually a notebook lasts me a quarter. So I've got so many, they go back so far. But then I also have, crazy enough, I use 3 different books every day. So this is my Brendan Burchard's high performance planner. So I use that, I journal, and then I have my normal notebook, which I only have a couple of to-dos today, but I always write what I'm thankful for. I write 3 of them down. In my Brendan Burchard, I also write who I appreciate, what my intention is for the day, but where my focus might be. So I'm very intentful. And throughout my day, I use my journal as I get on a new call, as I do a new activity. My goal is to always write what my intent is for that activity or call, so that I know what I'm trying to get out of it. So I'm making good use of that time, whatever it may be.
That is very interesting, because first of all, Brendan Burchard is awesome, and read a couple of his books, and I think that in fact, I think my daughter saw him live in Austin when she was over there, and brought me a couple of the things, including a journal and things from him. But I think having good people in your life, we were talking about this before, mentors, coaches, whatever, that can help direct you and give you wisdom and help you see outside of yourself, fill in those blind spots and really help direct you in your life. Because so often we're being held back and things are happening, and you've experienced this obviously, and you don't even know it sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so it's a matter of getting through those things. What did you find was your best? You've explained a lot of things you're doing, but what did you find was really the trigger that really helped you get on track with moving that right direction? Do you remember?
Yeah. So for me, it was actually finding the right person to help me. That was first and foremost. I tried traditional therapy. I had tried muscle testing, which is interesting. They release trauma that's stuck in your body. I tried multiple different things. I don't know if any of those contributed, could have, right? But where I ended was finding something that worked for me, which was really being a part of this understanding that who I am today is my organic self, or was my organic self. Now today I'm more in my developed self. Your organic self is, you've adapted. So the way I thought, the way I reacted, the decisions that I would make, a lot of it was based from that childhood trauma, whether I realized that or not. That was really based on that childhood trauma, because that was the way I learned to adapt. And so it was recognizing that I have my organic self, yes, but I can overcome that. And so that was working with a guy named Lee Tunney-Ware. If you don't know him, he's amazing. Mm-hmm. And so working with him really helped finally to get me over that edge. But I truly believe that whether it's through a coach, whether it's someone like Lee, whether it's, traditional therapy, other different, a Reiki, whatever therapy you decide to leverage, it's most certainly engaging and finding those people that can really help you push through those issues.
Yeah.
I was just reading some of the different comments from folks, and it's good to see Rob in the comments. I haven't seen him in a while. So that's great. So you're, Denise, you're living like this idealized dream in the corporate world, got the job, get the, all that kind of thing going, and realizing, yeah, this is not the dream. And you take actions and make a change that's based on what is best for you, for your family, and so forth. And now you've ended up in this AI world. So you're a salesperson, and as Mark Cuban says, sales cures all, which is certainly true in the business side, right? And so many people get enamored by their own products, by the services, by their processes, and they forget, right, that you actually do need to sell this stuff to have a sustainable business rather than an interesting hobby. I mentioned in the lead-in that we are going to be talking about AI on the global tea break, and this is something that we've been following because I sent out a post that said, COVID was a huge disruptor. Global, the pandemic was a global disruptor, but in every disruption, there's opportunity. And that I put forth that AI is a much bigger disruptor than the pandemic was, which means there are greater opportunities if we choose to take advantage of them. So you chose to change your life. How are you choosing to leverage AI?
Yeah. So first, let me give some context. So while I was in sales for over 30 years, the latter part of that was spent selling AI, machine learning, and automation solutions. So I developed this enthusiasm or passion for AI because I actually understood the products I was selling, which was also the differentiator between me and any other salesperson, was that I could actually have software engineer level type of conversations, at least first and second level, where I wouldn't have to bring in an engineer. And so I developed this real passion for AI. When I first started my business, this is going to be funny. The entrepreneurial world is not for the faint of heart. And it is, especially as a solopreneur, right? I mean, you have to be willing to shift. You also have to be willing, when the door closes, you figure out how to open it again, right? So when I started my business, I thought my company is Success with AI. I thought, I'm going to go out and I'm going to evangelize the value and the benefits of leveraging AI while still retaining that human element, whether it was in sales or not, but in life in general. What I realized was I did not have a following. I was not a thought leader. So how in the heck was I going to make any money doing that? And also, no one wants to be truly educated, right? So with all that in mind, I did have to make a shift and a focus and consider how I could leverage, my knowledge and passion and enthusiasm for AI with my sales experience, which is where I launched Sellovatorz. But for me, I love AI. I think that we should be adopting it. In fact, I'm going to be bold enough to say that if we don't adopt it in some way or another, you will be extinct at some point, right? I mean, I just think that is the wave. It isn't even the future. That's the wave of today, right? So for me, it's really about finding ways to use it smartly, right? So I get in, for example, with ChatGPT, which, by the way, everyone thinks that AI really came about when we launched ChatGPT in 21, but AI has been around since like 1956. The first instance of AI was with IBM, MIT, and I can't remember who the third is, but that was way back in the 50s, right? And having sold AI, automation was the precursor to AI. It was automation, machine learning, and then AI, as we know, artificial intelligence, as we know today. And having sold in that space, you'd be amazed at some of the things we were using AI for even in the 90s. I mean, it's pretty crazy. That being said, if we think about ChatGPT, like learning how to prompt in a way that gives me not just data, but helps me figure out how to present that data. But where I retain the human element is turning it into that prompt into something that is mine, right? By editing it, by doing things that really represent me versus a machine, right? So I leverage it in a ton of different ways within my sales process as a way for me to build content. I write the content, but it's how to get the ideas flowing, right? I could name a million different ways that I use AI, but I embrace it, but recognizing that it's here to augment me and not to replace me, right? And if we do that, then we still retain that human element.
Well, see, and I love that because I think the human element is so important. And I think people are afraid of it. They're afraid that that human element is going to be taken away, but it's only taken away if you allow that, because there are so many great ways and you've got to be really careful. I did have somebody bring up a good point the other day, because people that like AI get a little too comfortable. And just FYI, everybody, if you let AI write your website text and information, they may take your website away, because some of that, we can go back to plagiarism, Scott. Some of that is developed from other voices and they pull that out. So you've got to be careful on how you use that, meaning that it is a great start and it helps you write things, but don't completely rely on it. And that is one thing, as far as writing everything for you, it is not even though it's amazing how it works. You got to be careful how you use that. One thing I found is, I'm just going to throw out there, if people want to have fun with AI, Denise, pick something that you enjoy. And I learned this from another friend, and Rachel. I put down roast Russ like Kevin Hart would, and you just put it, and then I posted it, and people loved it. It was fun, and I put clearly it was Chat GPT. This is what I asked it. This is what it put. Those kind of things are a lot of fun, and it happens all within seconds. It gives you a taste of what AI can really do. That, I think, triggers back to the important stuff that you're talking about. It triggers the possibilities on how to use that in conjunction with all that you're doing to make yourself better, right? And I think that's the goal, right, Denise?
Yes, it is. And it's even like, it's only as good as the prompt you give it. So the output's only as good as the prompt you give it. So even, I get kind of as crazy as, here's the story, or here's what I'm trying to accomplish. Here's the context around what I'm trying to accomplish. Here's maybe some history that you need to take into account as well. And this is what I would like the output to be. And oh, by the way, if you can't give me the output I want and you have some additional questions, make sure you ask those of me. And you'd be surprised at what it comes back and the questions that it asks. So that it can give you a better output. But it's really very cool. It is, do it when it is fun for you, right? When it's fun, then it's almost like you're having a conversation. And fun is not just primarily linked to ChatGPT. You can have fun with a lot of other tools. There are image tools, there are video tools. There are so many out there that you can play with that are fun and exciting, right? That give you a little bit of energy when it relates to AI, because the reality is AI can be scary with the way things are headed and the things that we're going to see in the future, such as ASI, AGI, cars. At some point, I don't think we're going to be able to drive cars any longer. Like, they're going to be driven for us, whether we want to or not. There are things like that I see as things that we could be fearful of, but you might as well just enjoy it now and be a part of the journey because it's here. So have fun with it. Find the things that are really exciting to you and leverage those.
Yeah, it's just technology. That's all it is, right? It's just technology. There's nothing sinister about it. The bad guys will always do bad things with whatever tools are available. And just looking at AI in general, to me, again, it's how do we use that in our business? And you've created, I think, some courses around this, specifically around the sales, marketing, and conversion. So can you tell us about how you're making practical use of AI?
Yeah. So if you think about the way we sell today, so it goes all back to where my area of expertise is, which is sales, right? And so for me, in the new way that we sell, it is about leveraging social media. And the way, I'm sure we all see crazy DMs these days. I mean, I probably get 20 a day trying to pitch something right away, or they're using an automated solution and the way they automate their messages. What I teach is a lot of things, but in particular, it is how to engage in a warm way, right? A way that is not cold, a way that you don't leverage the automation tools. I believe in utilizing AI automation where you can, but I also believe that it's so very important for us to retain that human element. So how do we engage in a warm way, especially here on LinkedIn, but whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever your platform may be, it doesn't really matter. How do we do that in a way that differentiates us from the bots out there, from the automated solutions, from AI, right? That's where I spend a lot of my focus on, because my vision is to do my part. I realize I can't do it all by myself, but to do my part to elevate sales so that it becomes a noble profession again. And so the only way I can do that is by teaching people how to differentiate themselves from those bots, from AI, in a meaningful and purposeful way. So that's really what I focus a lot of my time and energy on.
Well, and I think that's so true, that we are our best asset because we are unique individually. So when you adapt these tools and this great technology, you can do such great things with it. And Scott, I want to go back to what you said too, is that there's always going to be bad people that do bad things. There's going to be things that happen with AI that we don't like, that maybe aren't good, but that doesn't make AI itself bad, because like you said, Denise, it's only as good as the input you give it. And if you're given positive input and you are utilizing it in a positive way, there's so many great things you could do. I think all of us use automatic things. Well, I can't say everybody, but a lot of people do, whether it is sending out automatic emails or group emails, or whether it is, prompting people and doing things that just are like little things we don't think about, that are like little pieces of AI almost, they're helping us do our job faster and more efficiently. And there's nothing wrong with that. Being a little more efficient, giving yourself more time, that comes all the way full circle, Denise, back to taking care of your health, your mental health, and all of that you've got going. So with that, I just noticed I have to be the responsible host and say, hey, the show's already over, so we got to wrap this up, but we're going to let you have the last word here, Denise. Well, kind of. Scott and I'll jump in after. But anyway, the last word of this round, and tell you that, give everybody just your kind of wrap up of our discussion today, how to remain positive, how to move in that positive direction with your life and with this tool, and then let everybody know how they get in touch with you.
Yeah. So I would say, I would leave everyone with this, that live in the moment and be present, right? That's where you do truly find joy. If you can't do that effectively, then there's something that is transpiring, whether it's your depression or your anxiety. So get to the root of that. And maybe you don't even have to understand it all, but you've got to get past it. So find ways. So reach out, ask for help, get past it so that you can live in the present, because we as humans are the differentiators from AI, the bots, automation, technology, and we have to be in that moment and be present so that we can be impactful, that we can have and build amazing relationships, so that we can see the sustainable success that we want. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's all things sales. I took a little bit of a break in the fall, so I've been slowly getting back into a rhythm, but you can always find me here, especially through the DMs. Have a conversation with me and try to just be human and quit sending those automated DMs, quit sending impersonal DMs. Just go to someone's profile. It takes one extra minute to go to someone's profile and find something, whether it's a post that they wrote or something in their about section that you can reference or that resonates with you, that you can use as a way. Always make it about them and not at all about you. And when you do that, they're going to want to engage with you in further conversation. So that's it.
Wow. That is so great. That's so great. And all of your contact information is, well, not all of it, but some of it's below you on the screen, and your website and your LinkedIn. There you go. And we really encourage everybody to connect with Denise. If you're listening on audio podcast, you can go sellovatorz.com. It's sellovatorz.com to get in touch with Denise and find out more about her, or look her up on LinkedIn. And Denise, what a blessing to have you here today. Thank you so much again for being with us. We appreciate you. We're going to say goodbye for now, but hang tight in the green room. We'll be right there. Okay. Wow. Scott, I want to just start off by saying amazing. I got so wrapped up in the conversation, I lost track of time, but also you had brought up our friend, Rob Statham, and Rob and I have stayed connected, and we've been talking off and on, the last few weeks, and have stayed in touch. But Rob is also really good about something that Denise said, and that is really giving to others, being personal. And people need to realize they don't have to lose that with AI. And you were nodding and giving approval to everything she was saying. It's so true. We need to maintain, like she said, our personal selves through all the technology, right?
Yeah, it's, again, you just think of it as a tool, right? That's all it is. And we've been living with tools our whole lives, and they've been changing. And I also really appreciated her points about being present. And I think about my father. He talked about people that only lived in the past, right? The glory days when I was the football star in high school, or the person who only lives for the future and sacrifices everything to build that retirement account. But he said, we need to learn from the past. So maybe 5%, right? Learn from the past. And said, and we need to prepare for the future, of course, right? It's being responsible. He says maybe about 10%. So that leaves 85% for today.
Yeah.
Right.
Be present. I'm with you 150% on that. That is so true.
185%. All right.
There you go. 185%, 285%. Yeah. No, Scott, as always, you're always full of wisdom, and I appreciate that. But it is so true. And I think we had such great information from Denise today. And as always, it is just a blessing to have people like her on that, open up topics and drive discussion that really helps us all look at things. And one thing I want to end with is, you said it's only a tool. Remember, there was a time in history when everybody used to dig holes with their hands, but they invented this thing called the shovel. And they thought, wow, this makes it a lot easier to dig the hole. Did that make the shovel bad? No, it did not. No, it did not. It was just a tool. And I want to remind everybody of that. It's how you use it. It's the input you give it. And with that, speaking of input, join us here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. We love to have you all here. And we would love for you to just share this with your friends. That would be such a great help to us. You can do that now. You can do that if you're watching on replay. Please put hashtag replay and comment, even if you're watching on replay. Also, if you are listening on audio podcast and you're able to comment on the podcast platform, that's great as well. We love to get your input on all that you're doing. You can always find Scott and I at russhedge.com or dscottsmith.com. We are available. It's been ticking along the bottom along with Denise's LinkedIn. And we would love to connect with you. We would love to be able to share with you and listen and learn from you. Maybe you'll end up as a guest on the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. The most important thing that I want to remind everybody is you can go to local.theexperience.video, find out more information about Scott and I, the show, and how to connect with us, even join our YouTube. But if you're too impatient to find it on that website, just go to theexperience.video and subscribe today to our YouTube page. We'd appreciate that. And last but not least, we want to give a huge shout out again to our sponsors who we just are so thankful for. We couldn't do this without. And that is the Gillette Home team and the Independent Planner and Kicking Cancer. And if I could actually get this off so you can see it all, there you go. That is great. And also, one other thing we want to remind you, we are also listener supported. We'll talk about that in a sec. I jumped ahead. Listener supported. You can hit the QR code or the link in the comments. If you feel so led to give to this ministry, Scott and I consider it, or just really the ability to get the positive word out, please join us with that. Last but not least, our 200th episode is coming right up. We're pretty excited. We're pretty excited. So you need to join us for that. Look in the comments. That'll be next month. Scott, I think I got it all out.
Yeah. And for those of you that are interested, Independent Journal, it supplements your digital calendar, and it has room for planning as well. Track your goals. But if you go to independent-planner.com, there is an AI-powered tool to help you set your 3-year vision, establish goals to fulfill that vision, and then set your ideal week so that you're managing your time and you're getting the things done that you want to get done.
That's what I say about the Independent Planner. With that, everybody, we are so thankful that you're here. Join us every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time. Until next week, enjoy your life and enjoy
the experience.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.